This is The Premise, and I'm your host,
Chad
Jeniffer.
Thompson. Chad Thompson's the host.
I'm the host. I'm Jeniffer Thompson.
And I'm Chad Thompson, the host.
Well, no, when we started podcasting, the noise, the smack. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, I hate it so much. But apparently it's like a thing, ASMR.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I hadn't heard of that before we started podcasting. But
and that some people like it.
They really like it. So the brushing of
it's
hair.
huge on YouTube.
Right?
We don't like it.
I do not like it. Yeah, drinking, any bodily noises in general, I'm not good with.
Farts?
Okay, so here's a question for you. This is a question. So farts are funny.
Yeah.
But belching's funny too, but body odor is not funny. There's nothing funny about body odor. Why?
Well, is a fart funny when it gets into your nose, or is the sound funny?
So it's the sound. Because
so.
Farts are acceptable.
Right.
Like farts are like a part of society.
I don't know if they're acceptable.
No, they are. People love to talk about farts and how funny they are.
But you don't feel good about like farting in a yoga class.
That's true. I guess it depends on the company.
I've been, I have two small kids. They're twins and they're 2 now. And I've just been like waiting until they realize how funny farting is.
So you can have fun.
I feel like it's like any day now they're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's a fart.
Is that learned, do you think? Or
I don't know.
Or does that come natural?
I mean, I think it's kind of natural.
I think it is
It's
too.
so funny.
I would think so, because you've got the sound, then you have the smell, and then you have the reaction to the smell.
Right.
So maybe it's
There's so much going on.
Yeah, it's
It's from so many different perspectives, right? The senses are
so you learn that sound causes someone to react in that way.
That's
so then
true.
you're like, haha, that's hilarious.
That could be true.
I felt like it was like a huge brain development when my daughter was like, someone farted and she's like, there's poop in my nose. There's poop in my nose, Mom.
Which is technically true.
Yeah. And that she recognized it
Yeah.
and that like, yeah, that was a pretty neat moment
How
for me.
Well, let's talk about who you are.
Okay.
So welcome to The Premise. Today we are here with Mara Altman. She is the author of Thanks for Coming, also the author of Gross Anatomy and several Kindle singles, which we will talk about. But Mara is also a mother, a journalist, a wife, an author, and a damn funny woman.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank
you so much for being here. So yeah, my first question was going to be about farts. So we didn't even have to.
It was?
It totally was. And I have proof in my hand.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. We were on the same wavelength. Well, I want to talk about your first book.
Oh.
The experience. So you wrote a book about In Search of Your Orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's brave to talk about that topic. So I just want to hear how that was for you, putting yourself out there. And I know in your bio, one of the things you say is, I write about issues that embarrass me, i.e. chin hair, because I have found that putting shame on the page diffuses the stigma, leaving me with a sense of empowerment and freedom. Mm-hmm. Did you come to that, and that's part of your official bio, did you come to that statement before you started seeking out these uncomfortable topics to talk about? Or did that, how did that happen for you?
Well, I think I wrote that statement, after Thanks for Coming. Thanks for Coming, when people tell me it's brave, it's kind of like, you go, oh, was it? Oops, I didn't mean to be brave.
Oh, so for you, it wasn't. You were just that was just.
Well, it was really actually something I wanted to figure out at the time. And I guess when I hear that kind of feedback, or I'm at a very different place in my life now than I was.
So how long ago did you write Thanks for Coming?
That was 10 years ago.
Okay. Before kids.
Yeah, that was
before marriage.
Kids, before marriage.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you're a journalist. And so I read Gross Anatomy, which I love. Fantastic book. And I think the reason I like it so much is you ask the questions that we're all asking, but no one's going out and researching it and getting the science and getting real answers. in a lot of cases, scientific answers, which you did with Thanks for Coming. So did it start out as like, I'm really curious about the female body and how it works? I mean, how did that, what was the impetus for that?
I mean, with Gross Anatomy, it started with Bearded Lady, which started as its own piece.
Right.
And I kind of had this realization that, I knew that I was extra hairy. But I was also like, I had this moment where I was like, why is this thing that's totally natural and normal for a female to be and have something that makes me so ashamed and so uncomfortable?
Right. Yeah.
And so I think that's where I felt the disconnect, and I felt like the desire to investigate more, because we have all these different parts of our bodies that are totally normal, and yet we try and hide.
We pretend like they're not there.
And like, I'm like, where did this come from? And why do we have to have all this shame? Like, we're born with it. It's like we're put in such an uncomfortable place to have to hide all that stuff. So I was like hiding it from the guy I was dating, who became my husband, and I spent most of my time thinking about those things rather than being present and enjoying my time with him in that hair example, especially. So once I did that and I went through all the reporting, I found out why we feel the way we do and blah, 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 lots of cool, fun, weird things. And I finally ended up telling him about my hair. He was kind of like, yeah.
We're mammals.
Hair. And the biggest part was just realizing that nothing big came of it, and that and that letting it all out and just telling him my fears and looking my chin hair in the face or whatever.
Literally.
Just let it all went away. Like, all of that anxiety kind of melted away. And instead of spending all my time being anxious about it and trying to get rid of it, I still don't love having chin hair, but
that didn't change.
Yeah, it didn't change, but my feelings around it changed. Like, the anxiety around it changed. So I feel like when I go get rid of it, I'm getting rid of it because I don't want it to be part of my look.
Right.
Versus like getting rid of it in hiding, and being like, I'm going to just, it's like this deep, dark secret. It has a lot of different energy around it.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like this book kind of gives women permission to just be who they are. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, from hemorrhoids to underarm sweat. And by the way, the whole reason I discovered you is sort of this awesome tumbling. I feel like I was sort of tumbling into you, and I love it. I saw the cover for Gross Anatomy when it first came out, and I thought, that looks like a great book, because I love the cover. And just to kind of show or tell our reader, soon to be reader, our listener, there's a picture of a woman on a beach towel, and she's got hairy legs, and it's a cartoon adaptation, and it's just such a great image. It feels fun and vibrant, and I was like, ooh, I want to know about that book. And books pass by us every day. And it was kind of in the back of my mind. And then you were doing a local event here in San Diego, and it came across. I was like, oh, I got to go to that event. And then I had a conflict, and it didn't happen. And then Chad and I were working with an author who's going to be on the premise, Dr. Nan Wise, who's a neuroscientist and a sex therapist. And it turns out she was part of your first book, Thanks for Coming. Mm-hmm. So she sent me your website as an example of a good website. So good for you, by the way.
Well, thank you.
And we were looking at it, and I ran across your videos, and I watched them over and over again. So there's this one book trailer, and I just got to say, I love book trailers, and I wish that more people saw your book trailers. I think there was maybe 1,400 views on one of them.
Yeah. It turns out there's not a lot of great places to place your book trailers.
Right. They're on YouTube, but then there's a million other videos on YouTube. But the camel toe video is so awesome. I watched it over and over again, and I sent it to all my friends.
Thank you.
And I was just like, oh my God, I love this video. It's so good. So we'll put a link to it on the website. But then after that, Chad's like, she lives in San Diego. So again, I was just sort of stumbling into you.
Not that I'm stalking you.
No,
it was all part of research.
It was work. Not trying to find that glorious camel toe.
We got to find it. Happens to be right here in San Diego. And then as it turns out, you happen to be good friends with a friend of mine who I was in a writing class with. So it was like,
it's pretty
crazy. The videos are awesome.
Thank you so much.
Do you want to talk about the kind of process of putting together a book trailer? It's kind of a fun.
Sorry, I had to drink something.
Absolutely.
And would you say ultimately it was worth the effort? Because it seems like you have like 4 or 5 different trailers.
Yeah, I did. I did 4 of them for this. Yeah.
Right.
So one was camel toe.
One was camel toe. One was vag odor. One was sweat and pimples. And then I had previously done like a thing on hemorrhoids, which is there as well.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I was looking forward to doing it from the like moment I got the book deal.
And you even acted, and like I had no idea that like this fabulous actor is actually the author. So that was cool too.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I had great coaching from my very best friend, Chandra, who is like acting alongside me.
The fabulous blonde.
Yeah, she's like,
great.
You know, been a star on Broadway for many, many years. So she like coached me through every scene. Could not have done it without her and her husband, who like helped write and get the whole team together. It was like really, you know, one of those works of passion where you get like everyone you know to do it for like as low cost as possible on a weekend.
Right.
You know, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I mean, it was a blast. I don't regret it for a second. It definitely didn't like. I was surprised at how hard it was to place them because they came out so good.
Yeah.
But like, where do you put them? And it turned out like my publicist had no idea where to put them, and everyone was kind of at a loss. They're like, "Well, this is cool, but
what do we do with it?
Yeah,
we put it on the website."
They're like, "Have you thought about putting it on Facebook?" I'm like, "Are you serious? That's what like my outlet is?
Like that's it?" Did you put it on Author Central and Amazon?
They only let me put one because of the content. And that was like another one of the issues of like the whole book in general is like it deals with such kind of taboo topics that it can be a little bit hard to market it.
So just to be clear, camel toe is taboo.
Yeah.
As it
I mean,
turns out.
crazy, right?
Right. And that's just so not okay. I mean, that's kind of goes down to like, that's the whole premise probably for you, for even writing the book, is why is this taboo?
Yeah.
Why can't we talk about our chin hair? I mean, these are not topics that are so crazy. I mean, vag smell might be the most taboo because there's the word vagina in it. But other than that, I mean, this is what we deal with. Men and women alike deal with body odor and hair that grows in weird places.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you do.
You're just naturally smooth in the face.
I'm a Norwegian hairless.
Chad's a Norwegian hairless. That's right. Well, actually, in your book, one of my favorite sections is on page, I have it here somewhere. We're talking, so on page 35, we were talking about advertising. So if we go back to the early 1900s, when they were trying to sell certain products, and there was this idea that cleanliness had something to do with how you were on the inside. And that was really fascinating to me. So it's like an advertising movement determined and dictated how women felt about themselves. Like you were a better person if you were cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
How was that for you? Like when you were going down that road and searching the advertising and just, was it kind of like, oh my gosh, was it an aha moment like it was for me reading it?
I mean, yeah, like I think a lot of it is advertising. It's other things as well, obviously, that makes us feel the way we do about our bodies. But it gives you this feeling like it's so nutty that I feel shitty about myself because it's all based on this thing that happened, 100 years ago when they did this ad. And you realize I think it's really liberating because you realize there's no really good reason to feel the way you do about, like, say, your hair or the scent of your vagina or, the sweat stain in your armpit.
You can't control it, and yet somehow there's this message in society that you need to control it or you're a lesser person.
Yeah.
And well, it says, advertisers tried to relate outward cleanliness with inner character. Advertisers invoked moral values like modesty and cleanliness that had been central to Victorian America and linked them to the modern value of exterior beauty. And you were quoting someone in this piece right here. And I just for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. Like we kind of have to take back our power as women and say, no, like, I'm okay with this and I feel okay with who I am, regardless of all of my hair and whatever else is happening with my body. Do you think it's possible that we can get to that point where we can take that back and we can change that history?
Oh,
that's a tall order, I know.
I mean, I think it is shifting in some ways. I see a lot of change, but I also, when I write stuff like this, I also don't want people to feel like they have to grow out their hair to feel liberated, you know? I think everyone just has to find their place of feeling good about themselves. It's like when people, throw shade on people who've gotten breast implants or anything like that. It's very sad in a way that we can't feel good about the bodies that we have, but we live in a society that puts a large amount of pressure on beauty standards and the way that they expect women to feel. So, like, how can you heap shame upon them for trying to change and look the way we ask them to look? Do you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, it goes both ways. Like, if my choice is to spend thousands of dollars on eradicating my chin hair, right? That's my choice, and I shouldn't be shamed for that. But you're right. Like, there's a certain stigma that goes along with Botox and hair removal and breast implants. You know, like, maybe it's hushed, but we're expected to look like this. But then when we take the steps to get there,
people are like, did you know she got a da-da-da-da?
Oh my God, such and such has a boob job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, what the future holds. I hope that this book just helps people go, oh yeah, I'm normal. This is okay. I don't have to have anxiety about this. I don't have to keep this deep down inside of me. Like, I'm not perfect the way I am. Or, that's a lot of the messages I get from readers is like, I was wondering the same thing. And oh my gosh, I have that too. And I didn't think I was normal. Even if that's the step we're at, that's great,
Well, and I wonder, as young women, do we think I'm the only one? I'm the only one in this room who has this chin hair and I have to hide it from the world.
I know that I felt that way. I mean, I damaged my face trying to get rid of it. And I felt so ridiculous for that. But then I looked back in history, and I'm sure you read the part about the Hiroshima maidens that Rebecca Herzig, the professor, had written a paper on, where women felt so ashamed of their facial hair that they were going to these back alley x-ray clinics because x-ray gets rid of your hair, but it also causes lesions, cancer, death. So they were knowingly going to places that could really damage them.
But they were okay with that.
And they were like, that's cool. It's okay. I need to get rid of this hair. And I definitely had been in that place.
Well, I remember in the book, so you were sitting with a friend at lunch and you had discovered this horrific thing. You're just horrified. And your friend is like, oh, who would do that? And you're like, well, actually, I probably would have done it.
Yeah. I mean, I lived in Bangkok for a year where women are you don't see a lot of hair out of place there. And I just felt such a hairy beast. So I was going to this hospital there where they had the beginnings of laser, and this guy just fried my face.
And you have a little scar from it.
Yeah, I have a scar on my upper lip, right here. But I was I think I even went back after that. I'm
you did?
Yeah.
You went back again. You're like, well, that's okay.
Lord.
Yeah, I know. I was like, it's okay. And you could even kind of taste your enamel on your teeth, when it went over the top.
Oh my God. What is wrong with me? Well, you know what else is fascinating to me is that your mom was just so free and comfortable with her body. She didn't shave her underarm hair or her leg hair. And she was just her. And like you said, you don't have to grow out your hair to be a woman. That was what made her feel comfortable. And I wonder if for you, growing up in that environment where you think this is just how we are and it's okay, and then all of a sudden you're in school and someone makes fun of you for having hair, then your world is rocked. From this is totally normal to, oh my God, I'm a monster.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a hard transition to realizing that I wasn't conforming to the way that the world was. And then trying to hold that hard line that my parents taught me of if you're accepting yourself, then you're completely natural. And realizing, needing eventually to realize that like accepting yourself is actually finding the way that you feel most comfortable in the world, not necessarily like following any one person's view of that.
Totally. Yeah. It's very personal.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of, earlier I said the words boob and job together, and I'd like to actually talk about that. So I used to work in a climbing gym, and there was this one woman who was a pretty tremendous climber and pretty famous. And she had implants. And I remember the owner of the gym said to me, "Oh, wait till you see her. You know, she got a boob job, and it has really improved her personality." And I was horrified to the point of like, I stood up and, you know, I was having words with him, and he said, no. Well, hear me out. She's so much more confident in herself that she's literally more outgoing. She's happier. I think it's like truly improved her outlook on life as a person. And I was like, oh. And it was true. She just felt so good about herself. And she'd always had this shame that she felt so out of place, like her body wasn't right. There's something wrong. And she took steps to fix that. In her mind, she was so much happier. And it really stuck with me. You know, that was her choice. And she felt really confident in that choice and really happy with that. And I think it was that moment in my life where I'm like, we all make choices for various reasons. And that's good. We have to support one another.
Yeah. It's just like a bummer that we have these standards of what is a good body that makes you feel confident, and that she had to, you know, couldn't feel that way in having her more flat chest. Like the thing I'm currently working on right now is a piece about height for Audible Originals.
Okay.
And I just talked to a man who stretched his legs, like got his femurs
Jesus.
broken.
Oh my gosh. To be taller.
To be taller, yeah.
Is that something that's allowed stateside, or is that?
Yeah, it's allowed.
That's
He got it done in LA, and
Of course.
I'm
sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I don't mean to shame LA.
And he got like they basically stretched the leg out a millimeter a day for like 3 months, and he grew 3 inches, and he's still in pain. It's a year and a half later. Hasn't regained like total mobility yet, but he is stoked. Like, he's so happy. He feels like people treat him differently. He feels like, the world is different. And is the world really different, or is he different in how he interacts with the world, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it sounds like a crazy surgery, but it's the same thing, you know?
Did he go from like 6 feet to 6'3", or did he go from like 5'3" to?
Yeah, shorter. He went from 5'5" to 5'8".
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So, you know, on the one hand, like, that totally breaks my heart that that's our society and that we've put him through that. And then on the other hand, like, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, for a man to be 5'5" and everyone looks down at you, for him to feel like he fits in.
But also, is that him thinking, like, through the lens of him thinking that he's too short and thinking that people are looking down on him, versus once he's 5'8", he feels like a different person. And because of that renewed confidence and people seeing confidence, not height, they're reacting to him differently.
I think that's probably true. I think it's the latter. I mean,
yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
I haven't found a study on this, but.
So this is a Kindle single, and it's the one story about him?
No, this is an Audible.
Oh, it's an Audible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's my first Audible piece. And so I guess they're experimenting a lot with audio. So they're like, this will only exist in audio, not in writing. Yeah.
So are you reading it? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to be reading it.
Nice.
And yeah, we'll see if it's nice. I'll let you know. I don't know. But and it's all about height. It's like he's one of the people I talk to.
Now, does it go the other way where people are so tall that they want a height reduction?
I'm like, should I be talking about all my research right now? I don't know.
No, probably not, actually. I don't know. Well, we'll definitely look that up.
Yeah, there's really interesting things.
Tell me, when does it come out?
I don't know.
Okay. And does it have a title yet?
We're working on that.
Okay.
We have a couple ideas.
All these details. So
it's either going to be, you guys can tell me what you like. The short of it, or a short drink of water.
The short of it.
You liked a short drink of water.
I go with the second one.
Really? Okay.
As opposed to a tall drink of water.
Because I've been
You know?
called a tall drink of water in the past.
Oh, so that has some meaning to you.
Well, I don't consider myself
Well, you're
tall.
a tall drink of water.
Yeah, it's
I
a
have
play
heard
on
that.
it like that. But people might not get it.
Well, I really liked the short of it because it just is intriguing. But I think Chad's probably right. The play on words is probably better.
I don't know.
The short. I like it.
Can anybody call in, please?
Yeah, so we need some.
Call in.
we're gonna need to get
Oh, the phones are lighting up.
Well, that'll be in our next iteration. Well, whenever this is available, send it to us. We'll put it on the website and we'll share it with our listeners because I'm excited to hear it. I know it's going to be great. Your writing is funny. It's well researched. It's well written. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you're working on a bunch of stuff right now, aren't you? You also write Kindle singles. Are you still an active journalist? I know you've written for the New York Times and
Yeah, I do. Like, I pitch essays mostly when I'm procrastinating on my bigger pieces. And I'm, it's like I have way too much to do, and I'm like, ooh,
here's an idea.
yeah. But mostly I'm working on bigger pieces. I'm working on a book proposal, another one, and then
there's another book in the future.
Maybe. I think it's taken me a while because I'm not totally sure I want to dive in. It's a big effort, guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How long did it take you to write Gross Anatomy?
It took like a year and a half or 2 years, yeah.
Okay.
With a pregnancy in the middle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And getting married.
That was earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're writing about the time before it, because I know in the beginning of the book you're not married.
Right. That's the essay of Bearded Lady.
Which is fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, and then there are, like, we're trying to get it, there's some people that are trying to make it into a show, but that's always like a hard road.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see where that goes. But it's been a fun little journey.
That's really, can you talk about that, or is that open? Is that cool? Can we talk about that?
I think so.
I mean, I think a lot of, our listeners are writers and have aspirations. Who doesn't want to have their book turned into a movie or a TV series?
Yeah.
So like that, can you speak to the process and...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is like disappointment.
Talk about the disappointments. That'd be great. That's what being a writer is all about, disappointments.
Yeah, it's like a lot of hope and excitement and then like disappointment. But it's fun. Like, I'm happy to have both of those, and it's great. I'm not going to complain. It's fun. It's a fun ride,
Totally.
That's what you got to look at it
Yeah.
as. Like, Thanks for Coming was optioned by HBO, and then I like got to meet with the writer, who was Mark Steven Johnson, who wrote Grumpy Old Men.
Mm-hmm.
It was like just how weird,
Totally,
it was like
that's cool.
just wild, and then that didn't go anywhere, and then it got like brought on to like I think 2 more places where it didn't go anywhere. Like, it just it gets exciting, and then it doesn't. And then now Gross Anatomy is with Eddie Schmidt and Chelsea Handler,
Right.
and they're trying to make it, and that's just been really fun. They're like really cool people who really see the project in a way that I really love,
Nice, yeah.
and it's just going out and pitching and seeing what happens,
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think you just have to temper your expectations. It's
Yeah,
like,
totally.
We're going to take this ride wherever it brings
it's
us.
It's viewing it, I think, as just an extra, and being like,
Yeah.
whoa, I published a book. That's great. And, oh, this thing is happening. That's really fun, and just, I try and have just a really good attitude about it. But, of course you get disappointed a bit.
Sure, yeah. And Chelsea Handler, like, how fun. Did she
Yeah.
reach out? I know she blurbed the book.
Mm-hmm. That was after she was already, like, on.
And she did a video. I think she had
Yeah.
the book in her hand talking about how fantastic this book is.
Yeah, she's been so supportive.
Very cool.
It was Eddie found the book first, and he's done projects like Ugly Delicious with
Okay.
he's done like a lot of documentary work, a lot of really cool documentary work, and he's worked closely with Chelsea Handler, so he gave her the book, and she was really into it, so they decided
okay.
to co-produce it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I hope, I don't know, I kind of have, I think I'm just going to put myself in the seat next to you on this roller coaster ride, but
Thanks.
I have high hopes for it because I think it'd be such a great series. Are they thinking movie or series?
non-scripted series.
Okay. Whoa. What does that even
So
look
it'd be like very journalistic, you know?
Okay.
Looking at the parts of our bodies and
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really perfect.
I would really like it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who?
I'm not invested or anything, but
Right.
So
This is only years of my life on the page.
yeah, exactly. So who would play you in a movie based on the book?
man, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
Alana Glazer.
Oh,
Ooh, she's so fabulous.
yeah,
I
she is.
love her. Okay.
No pressure, Alana. Just saying.
Just an idea.
So I hear that you're kind of a bossy baker. I want to know more about this.
I mean, just in that, like, yeah, I don't.
Get out of my way. I'm baking.
Kinda, yeah. I mean,
Don't touch me.
It used to be a lot more of like a therapeutic, like I'm on my own, I'm doing my thing, I'm baking. It's different from writing. I also really love that, like, there's a recipe. My husband would say I don't follow recipes very well.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Like, baking has to be pretty precise.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
It's fine to not be precise.
Good to know.
It just depends on how
You
you
don't
want
mind
it to.
flat cakes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're not picky about how it turns out, you do not have to be picky about the recipe.
This is true.
I mean, it's sugar, egg. How is it going to taste bad?
Right.
You know?
Well, I don't know. I've made some pretty bad cakes.
No, but I mean, I also, it's comforting, I think, to come to something that has a recipe after I feel like writing doesn't really have a recipe for me. Like, I
True,
think some
yeah.
people have a structure that they follow and they feel like it's very comforting. I feel like whenever I hit the page, I'm like, I have no clue what's going to happen next. It's like this. I don't know what I'm going to say next.
Right.
It's
What are we going to do next?
yeah, nothing is like planned out. So when I go from like a day of writing to a baking, in fact, when I'm like, I'm going to leave writing, screw this sucks. I'm like, I'm going to be a baker. I'm going to make the same muffin over and over again. Everyone's going to be happy whenever they eat it. You know,
Right.
there's, yeah. So
You seem to overestimate the buying public, I think. There's
with
always
muffins.
someone who's going to bitch about the muffins.
Oh yeah, that of course. But they would know that they'd come back to the same muffin, so they would just leave. They would never try again. You know, with my muffins.
That's true.
It'd
the
be like-
consistency of the muffin.
Yeah,
You know exactly what you're going to do and what you're going to get.
yeah.
So, would you say that you live your life very, I guess, unconventionally, loosey-goosey? Like, do you sit down and have rules like, today I'm going to do this, this, and this? Or is it like you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, whatever feels good today? Like, or do you do both?
No, like what in the writing life?
Yeah, just in general. Like, I mean, you're tackling a lot. You're raising twins and you're writing and you're doing so many things at once. Like, how do you keep that all organized?
Yeah, it's
Is it structured or?
it's structured in that whenever I have care, I try and write.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Do you think?
and I always say try to write. I never say write.
Yeah, try to write.
Yeah, my whole life it's been try to write. I'm gonna try and write.
I have a question. Do you think that having limited space actually helps because you know you're not going to have time later with the twins and there's so many things that you have to get done in a day that when you have that hour, do you think that propels you to be more productive than you would be otherwise?
I want to believe that, and I've kind of like, you know, I've been trying that on. I've told people that.
Right. I'm going to wear this hat for a while, see what it takes me.
But I actually like am not feeling that way in all honesty at the moment. And maybe it's like that they're still young and like it's chaotic a bit, but I have not been like my levels of productive since I've had them. And I think it's because I was like insane before a little bit.
Sure.
I was like so workaholic that like I would get up at, 7, I would sit in my chair and I would sit in my chair until like 5.
Wow.
I
7
would-
a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah, and I would just like a lot of it would be messing around and like looking on the internet and getting distracted. But with
That
that,
doesn't sound familiar at all.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
but with
Have
that,
you been watching me?
but with that amount of time sitting, you get stuff done.
You do.
know?
Yeah. But is it the most productive use of time?
But now I do the same thing, but I don't
Right.
have as much time. It gets interrupted more often, and I don't have as much. I don't have as much anxiety and angst about my career as I used to, which was actually very motivating because I'm like happier. in life.
Yeah.
So I'm okay, like, being like, I'm going to go hang out with the twins a little bit more. And I'm going to, it's just a little bit, I've chilled out a little bit. So I'm not as hard on myself.
Right.
And it's a little bit, I'm just hoping that the productivity kind of steps up a notch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I can totally relate to that.
Oh, sorry. Just all the sickness that's happening. It's like, you just can't have high expectations.
When everyone's sick.
Yeah, like everything.
Did it hit you this year? Did you
Oh my God. They went to preschool for the first time this year.
And they came home
sick. It's been nonstop, like every other week. We're all out. And then when it's just.
They're little germ incubators.
They are. It's really, I mean, they both got hand, foot, mouth.
Right.
I think I told you that when we first met. And then my daughter got it really bad. And so like all her finger pads and her toe pads just peeled off. Like just came off.
And that's horrifying.
And now, a month later, her nails are all coming off.
Oh, what is that? It's from the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what is
what
this?
What do we do with this?
Yeah. I'm just not telling her what's happened. Like, she hasn't asked about it, so I'm just like, well, as long as we don't tell her.
This is just what happens.
Yeah. How would she know? She's like, oh, so when you're in your second year of life, all your toenails fall off.
And pretty soon you'll lose your teeth.
I can't wait.
It's totally normal.
I can't wait to read her book. But looking back on her childhood about how, well, mom just said this was natural.
Yeah.
They'll grow back even better, baby.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I forgot about that. Like when you have little ones, there's going to be more sickness.
Oh, yeah.
We insulate ourselves here at Monkey See Media. We never leave our desks.
So smart.
And we don't ever get sick.
It's really smart.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
We're gonna get hit by some flu virus, and it's gonna wipe both of us out.
Oh, because you wouldn't have built up your immune system.
Exactly.
That's a really good point.
I can bring them over.
We're
bring
just
them over.
Frail,
Are you guys ready?
beings wandering around this house.
Oh my gosh. Well, balancing. Well, I was going to say, like, for me, if I'm not working, like I have a certain standard for myself to get a certain amount done. And sitting in my chair is kind of good enough. Like you said, like I feel like if I'm in my chair, I'm working on it. Even if I'm not directly, I'm getting ready to. And if I step away from, which is stupid, right? If I step away from it, I feel so guilty. Like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm letting myself down. But obviously children are going to take precedent over anything. So it's like, it sort of takes away the guilt of not always being in that chair.
Yeah. And it's also, I think I felt the same way as you do, but then also you have to go, okay, like standing up and stretching can be good for you and kind of clear your head and,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still trying to find my balance. My new balance.
Yeah.
And I think with this project about height, like I actually am getting a stride, which is cool. It feels really good. I forgot how it felt to like wake up in the morning and be like, oh yeah, I get it right. Woo!
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Play with words.
It's because you're really excited about the project, I would imagine.
I am.
I'm excited about it. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow.
I'm excited that you're doing a writer festival and that this is your second year and you're putting so much of your time into making this happen. It's really cool.
We are so excited. So today I went over and toured the entire facility. So we've got the Coronado Public Library, and then we've got the Coronado Arts High School, which has a 560-seat theater.
Wow.
And a black box theater, and then all the classrooms, this massive courtyard. We're going to have food trucks. I got so excited. And then there's the Spreckles Center. It's a senior center, and it's right next to the library. And the space is just stunning. So there's just so many amazing things that are going to happen.
Do you think this is going to be like the home for it for good?
Maybe. I mean, honestly, after taking that tour, I was just beside myself excited. It has everything that I had hoped for. The children's programming, the space is perfect. And the teen programming space is perfect. We wanted food trucks. We've got that. There's a green room. There's a kitchen. We can do chef events. So there's so much room for growth. I mean, it was really kind of shocking last year at the San Diego Downtown Public Library. We didn't expect to outgrow that space in 1 year. Mm-hmm. So who knows what'll happen in Coronado? But so far, the city, the library, they've been really incredible and
I'm so
super helpful. So can we talk about your involvement?
Sure.
So we talked about doing a female empowerment panel, which I'm really excited about with Kat Alexander. And I don't even know if you've agreed to do this. Have you?
Sure.
I mean, no pressure here on the pod, but
No.
This is what we do with people. We
sounds
make them say
great.
yes on the podcast.
I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about it
Chad,
too.
are you going to be on it?
Yeah.
what, the female empowerment panel?
Sure.
That sounds a little odd.
It'll be awkward.
What are you in the like literary?
No, I'm just technical backline stuff.
Your tech guy?
Photos, videos, audio gear, all that
Cool.
stuff.
He's our audiophile.
Yeah, so
He's the one who makes everything happen.
I made the sandwiches last year.
You did help make the sandwiches,
Yeah.
and the vegetarian sandwiches were the best. And I think we roasted vegetables. And
Wow.
you had a part in that.
You
Yeah.
guys brought sandwiches to the festival?
We did. We had over 100 volunteers,
Oh, and you fed them?
and we
We had
needed
to
to feed
feed 'em.
them. Yeah, and
You guys, this is such a work of passion.
it really is. It's
You were in your kitchen
stupid.
making sandwiches.
till midnight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
We made like 200 sandwiches. I think we had, I don't even remember what they were. I remember the vegetarian ones were like crazy good. And
Wow.
Chad he's a really good cook.
I'm not even a vegetarian, and I think that was my favorite sandwich.
Yeah. And he made this like sauce, this like, I don't know what it was. It was amazing.
Yum.
And people kept asking for more vegetarian sandwiches.
Are you going to make more sandwiches this year?
I don't know.
Say yes, Chad. You're on the
Okay,
podcast.
yes. Now I'm committed. Damn it. Backfired on me.
It was cool. So all the volunteers would, take a little break and have a sandwich. And everyone brought there were oranges and apples, big boxes of fruit and big things of chocolate. And
Who brought the mini cupcakes?
oh, okay. So
amazing.
our volunteer coordinator, I'm just going to give a shout out to Janelle. She made these cupcakes that were rosemary, raspberry, orange, lime. There were a couple different ones, but one had thyme, one had rosemary. They were so good. It was stupid.
Is she doing it again?
Yes.
Nice.
I was like, so are you going to make those cupcakes again?
And is this just like for volunteers, or is this for people that come and they can get a mini cupcake?
This was just for volunteers.
Okay.
But
Are you still looking for volunteers?
yes, we need volunteers. Absolutely. And, you can volunteer before. Anyone who's listening who wants to volunteer, you can go to the website at SanDiegoWritersFestival.com. There's a volunteer page where you can sign up. But we need a street team, people to hang up posters and give out postcards. We need people to do social media or to just help with admin. And on the day of, everyone gets a blue t-shirt, which I gotta say was super cool. So last year there was this sea of people in blue, all walking around being
That's
helpful.
cool.
We had this is one of my favorite parts of the volunteers last year. We were really worried about the elevators getting backlogged because everyone's trying to get to the 9th floor for the
right.
next talk. And there's 3 elevators. So we had someone sitting at the elevator telling jokes. Would you like to hear a joke? And people were like, oh, yeah, I'd like to hear a joke. And it just made the energy.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. So people
Whose
didn't.
idea was that?
Total cat skills kind of jokes, too.
Yeah,
They're
they
so
were
bad.
Just nice and corny.
They were just awesome. And I remember I forgot we were doing that. And I walked up and she says to me, and I'd never met her. She was a volunteer that someone else brought in. And she said, would you like to hear a joke? And I just looked at her and I was like, oh, that's right. Like, yeah, I'd love to hear a joke. And it was just such a great feeling.
I love that. I think
But-
a lot of businesses should implement that.
Right? Yeah. I don't remember who came up with the idea, but it was one of our volunteers.
That's very good.
Had mentioned it, and Marnie and I were like, yes, we want someone to tell jokes at the elevators.
Like you're walking into a Walmart, and then the greeter is like, hey, you want to hear a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Please. Well, I'm really excited that you're going to be part of the festival. I'm
Yeah.
really excited that you came out today to talk to us about your book. I love your work. I'm excited to read more of it.
Thanks for having me.
So I feel like the people who are probably reading this book are people like me, who I'm kind of at a place in my life where I realize it's okay that I have all these things that are wrong with me, whether they're really wrong with me. But the people who I think need this book the most are my nieces. To know when you're young that, hey, this is okay, this is who I am, as opposed to discovering in your 30s and 40s that, oh, it's okay. So you don't have to go through those awkward years of feeling like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love people to have access to it early and be like,
I think it should be required reading
yes,
for
in
all
every
high school students.
high school in the country.
That's right.
I mean, I actually had someone, like a mom, write me and ask if like I could write a version that didn't have some of the more racy parts in it so that teenagers could read it. But I was like, I don't think there's anything in the book that teenagers
really not
couldn't
that
read.
These teenagers are talking about this behind your back, Mom.
Yeah, this is happening,
Yeah.
Mom. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it was. Maybe she meant like the sex sounds part. I don't know,
Maybe.
which is one of my favorite parts.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Comes through great on the audiobook.
Yes.
No, I don't know. I haven't heard it. I'm just assuming.
I mean, I should probably have like a little accompanied like sound effect version, but
exactly.
I love how you keep turning. Are you burping?
I am burping.
You're doing like little burps to the side?
I am. Yeah. I had lunch before, and I tell you, that's a bad idea. To eat and then record a podcast is just not the way it should work.
Yeah, when you do audiobooks and it like, the microphones are so good, you know? That
Oh, it hears everything.
it hears your little like stomach burbles. And it's...
Right now, what's happening is I've got this little like, it's just like a little teeny gurgle.
Could you just like let it rip and then like be done with it? Or are you just, it's like, let it...
Probably. You know what? Now that I'm totally like on view, I don't think I could. No, I think it's probably going to repress itself.
No. I wonder if it'll become a fart.
It might. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
How
how
these things work?
How long does it take?
That I don't know, but
I've thought about that.
It's going to travel through.
it's going to be, it's like, she
stomach,
didn't let me out
large
that way.
intestine,
So
small
I'm going this
intestine.
way.
now it's on her.
See, now this is something we need to know about. If
I
you
know.
hold in your burps, how long does it take for them to become farts?
I think that could be a chapter.
Total chapter, right?
Yeah.
I want to know.
But to
Gross Anatomy, Part 2.
part do
Do.
part two. That's great. What were we talking about? You were saying you were saying, is there anything that I'd want people to know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, is there like a final thing you'd like to
Yeah.
say to young women who read
Or writers.
Or writers. But I mean, specifically, I'd like to know if there's something you have to say to young girls who are like, what's wrong with me? Why do I have a hairy chin and none of my friends do?
Yeah, I think the whole thing, like, I would just be like, you're normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's a wide variation of normal.
Totally.
And that,
I think normal's a bad word.
I mean, it can be, I guess, the way we use it.
Yeah.
But it also can just mean everything is normal. It like there was a study. There was 2 different studies that I looked at on the camel toe chapter that I thought was very interesting. One was they took 50 different vulvas and measured the inner labia.
Hmm.
And like, you know, women, I think, typically don't think that they don't like the look of long labia. You don't see that a lot, you know, in porn or in pictures or anything, like the Audi
Right.
look.
The Audi. Yeah.
But when they did this study on the vulvas, just they took 50 and there was like a range from like, you know, barely any inner labia to like 4-inch long inner labia. And that's like the length of like a toilet paper roll, basically.
Wow. Yeah.
So and that's all normal,
Wow.
you know? And,
Yeah.
and people don't know that and they don't talk about it and they feel ashamed of.
You
and then
just think that yours is
weird.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone else is whatever perfect is.
Yeah. Like I have asymmetrical ones. Like
Yeah.
one's all flappy and the other one's not. Like
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows?
You're right.
I didn't write that anywhere. No one knows that. Only people on this listening to this know about my asymmetrical labia.
Well,
Like, should I have said that? Maybe you should edit. No, I'm good with my asymmetrical labia.
well, this is
I think
actually
in general we're asymmetrical, right? I've
We're
got
all
one ear
asymmetrical.
higher on my head than
Yeah.
One bigger boob.
one. Yeah, I've got one points this way, one points that way.
And the other study was that a Dutch study where they had young women see all these different pictures of different size, shape vulvas, and then they did a test about like how they felt about themselves, and people that had seen it and people that didn't see it. And like the people that saw all the variation felt much better about themselves
Interesting.
than ones that hadn't. Yeah.
But yet it is so taboo. We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
We certainly don't look at pictures of it, right?
And then you see like that the number of like labiaplasties has really skyrocketed.
Oh, interesting.
So people not feeling good about the look of their vulva, and then
Of course.
changing it.
Yeah. I had no idea, but that makes sense.
Hmm.
I mean, we're lengthening bodies. Why not,
So really, just I think just showing that there's like a really wide range of normal is a really good place to begin, and knowing that you fit within it, you know?
That's awesome. I love that. And then I have one more question.
Yeah.
When you're writing about something that's like super personal, so when I started, I said it was really brave of you to talk about your search for the orgasm, right? Well, I don't know if it was a search for the orgasm, but explaining the orgasm for yourself and for others. What is too much to give away? Like, how do you tell a really good story and put yourself out there, but still hold some back for yourself?
I was going to say, have you held any back for yourself?
Yeah, I totally do. I think like a lot of it has to do with comfort, you know, where you feel comfortable. We when we had coffee, we kind of talked about this. As like,
I've thought about it ever since.
Yeah, I think that then 10 years ago, my boundaries were very different about what I felt comfortable revealing and not, and even like the recognizing comfort levels and stuff within myself, and the desire to keep some things to myself has changed. And I don't think that to be a memoirist or to talk about your own issues that you have to reveal everything. And I don't have like an algorithm for what's the right amount. And I think it can vary, and some people might want to put it all down on the page, you know? But for me, it changes like, you know, thing to thing that I'm writing and what serves the piece. But if I feel like I don't feel the need to make myself uncomfortable to tell a story. I feel like in a way I'm lucky that I have this kind of ability to share things that are taboo about myself, and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I you know, people I think expect me to be more revealing when they meet me in person than I am. But I reveal in some ways a lot more on the page than I do in person. Yeah. I don't know if I'm getting to the answer. Am I being too roundabout? I don't know.
No, I think you answered it fine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so I take a lot of memoir classes, and my co-founder is a coach, specifically helping people write their memoirs. And one of the biggest things that she finds is that the gold of the story is often hidden behind this door. And once they open that door and actually start talking about, that's the essence of the story. So it's interesting to me, like, how do you open that door and go to that place that's uncomfortable and be real, but not give everything away to the point where it makes you uncomfortable?
I mean, it's just, I don't think there's a one way to talk about that, because everyone's threshold of comfort and discomfort is going to be different.
But so, I guess it's important to say that it's okay to hold back a little.
Totally.
Like, you don't have to make yourself uncomfortable.
And I think I had a therapist when I was doing Thanks for Coming. And I was in a way when
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because you were writing it, or you just happened to have a therapist?
I actually got her to help me.
Through the process?
Through the process,
okay.
Yeah. And she's a character in the book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And it was the first time I did therapy, and she helped me recognize boundaries. So that was like a really important book for me in a lot of ways, like in a lot of growth ways about intimacy and, you know, finding what pleasure meant. What pleasure felt like, you know, just like, I think in the book I even had this thing where like I could be hungry and not know what I was hungry for. And that's how I was in my life. Like I felt hungry, but I felt wanting, but didn't know what I wanted.
Right.
And like, it's figuring out what you're craving. Like, well, what do you crave? You know, do you want a burrito? Do you want a sandwich? I didn't know. Like I was honing in on who I was, what I wanted. And I think I recognized my boundaries in that book. And I don't think I would be able to write a book like that now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because you had fewer boundaries then.
And
now,
just even the things that I reveal about the people that I knew.
Yeah.
And I was more willing to go there. And now, just because I've gotten older and I've, you know.
Do you think it's because you have children too? Like maybe you're a little more private now?
No. Well, I mean, it's private in a different way, but even in my, like in Gross Anatomy, I didn't have kids yet, and I felt it was different.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also you're dragging the people around you into your book as well, so it's also like a recognizing their boundaries and what you feel comfortable about sharing about them and being really aware. Whereas I think even as like a journalist, when I'm writing a profile about people, it's changed over time what I am okay with saying.
Yeah. Well, we evolve as writers
Yeah.
too. How did Dave feel about the process of Gross Anatomy? And just, I mean, because he was there with you pretty much throughout the whole process, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's in the book a lot.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, Dave is your husband now.
Yeah.
Was your boyfriend at the time.
Yeah, he's actually, I met him during Thanks for Coming, and I changed his name for Thanks for Coming because we didn't know where it was going.
Oh,
and,
wow.
You know.
And you're like, actually, I think we'll keep your name. I think I'm going to keep you.
Yeah. So he is such a private person. So it's really funny that we ended up together in some ways.
And you're like, and by the way, I'm going to write a book and you're going to be in it a lot.
You're going to be in all of them. He's so great.
I love him.
Yeah.
I've never met Dave, but I love him. He's so fabulous.
I think he gets
good support.
He gets a lot of good feedback.
Does he?
From what I write. So I think he feels like I paint him in a good way. And I do let him read it before it's published. So, and he doesn't, we have this thing like, he doesn't want to be a book terrorist. He tries to give me as much leeway as possible.
Right.
But if there was anything that like really felt uncomfortable to him, I would probably change it, because why would I want to put him in that situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's super supportive.
Good. That's cool. I can tell. Yeah. Well, I told you one of my favorite scenes is when you're sitting on the couch. I believe this is after you were engaged and you're watching something on TV and all of a sudden, and I think you're sitting on opposite sides of the couch, and then you go over really close to him. Your face is really close and you say to him, I have chin hair. And he looks at you like, okay, and goes back to the TV like, this is okay. And you're like, no, really, you need to know this about me. And then he finally gently slaps you across the face and says, get over it. It's just chin hair.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's just so perfect,
Yeah.
That moment where, okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And I love you just the way you are.
Yeah, it was really nice.
It's a really, it's a pretty nice moment in the
But
book.
then it's interesting, too, because it's a realization, too, that I put myself through all of that because of me.
For nothing.
Because of my own issues, not his, not anyone else's. It's like our own judgment of ourselves.
Well, and did he know? He just knew.
He didn't.
Had you?
I don't think he ever noticed or anything.
Cared.
He just, it wasn't a thing for him. It was like a thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's true with Chad, too. There's times when I'm really concerned about something and he didn't even realize it. We're just so caught up, we women. And these are the constructs, I think, of, being the perfect woman in today's society that they're going to affect us. And
Well, and let's not discount the fact that I'm oblivious to a lot of things.
Same with Dave.
So,
it's great.
It's like, I didn't notice it, honestly.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, and that's the difference between us, and that's why we love you. We need the oblivious man in our life to help us try to be a little more oblivious about it, and imagine if we didn't even worry about it or think about it. But I am always going to shave my legs. That's a thing.
Fair.
Well, Mara, I really appreciate you coming out and spending a little time with Chad and I on the premise.
It was really fun.
Thank you.
You guys are great. You have a great, chemistry, obviously. I guess that's why you got married.
We like each other.
But
it works out.
Yeah.
20
most
years.
of the time.
It's cool.
Yeah, we might do another 20,
See what happens.
given the shot.
Each year we sign up again.
That's right. That's right.
Do you guys renew your vows every year or something?
No, but we have this joke that, I guess I'll sign on for another year. So
You've got 365 days to prove it.
Yep.
Prove yourself once again. That's right. Yeah. September 18th. Is that right? That's our anniversary, right? Yeah. Ooh.
Damn. You're asking me, the oblivious guy? We just went over this.
I know, right? So let's talk about where people can get your book and find you online. So you're on social media.
Mm-hmm. I mostly use Instagram.
Okay. What's your handle?
Mara Altman. MARAALTMAN.
Awesome. And the book is Gross Anatomy, a field guide to loving your body, warts and all.
Oh, they changed the subtitle for the paperback.
What was it?
It was so good before. It was, I have it right here. It was, and I added armpit hair on mine.
Oh, I love
look at
the
that.
armpit hair. I want to
Yeah.
picture that.
That was like a little bit of an issue between me and my publishers. I was really wanted the armpit hair, and they just
And they took it out.
Yeah, they felt like it was too much.
You know what's really sad is I didn't even notice that there's no armpit hair because I'm so used to women not having armpit hair.
But it's been really fun at readings because I can add the armpit. I can add armpit hair. I can add bikini hair, toe hair.
You're gonna have to sign
hair.
my copy.
I can do all kinds of hair.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a little more hair on my
Is that
body.
all part of your signature process?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, we'll sign it. And
I
then
say,
add
what
this,
kind of hair
that.
do you want? And I can do straight, spirally, curly.
You're good at it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm definitely gonna have you sign my copy and hair mine up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So the subtitle was Dispatches from the Front and parentheses back.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in your bio.
Yeah.
That's funny because when I was reading it, I looked at it again. I was like, oh, I don't remember dispatches because it's not on my copy.
Yeah.
Interesting. The things that our publishers do.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It is interesting. That's a whole nother podcast.
It is.
All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. See you at the festival.
Did we get the URL?
We got her URL.
Oh, the Mara
Altman.
Altman.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So you can check out Mara.
The book trailers.
And you've got to watch the book trailers. We will have a link on the website. Mara-Altman. That's ALTMAN.com.
Are you an author with a story to tell, but you're just not sure how to get that story out?
Guess what? You don't have to do it alone. Marnie Friedman is an incredible writing coach. She offers personalized support and expertise to guide you from a kernel of an idea to completion. Visit marniefriedman.com to learn more. That's MarniFreedman.com.
This episode is brought to you by Monkey See Media, a small boutique design firm offering award-winning websites, book cover designs, book trailers, and photography services.
And full disclosure, we love what we do. Chad and I founded Monkey See Media in 2004, and we're still going strong.
Visit monkeycmedia.com. That's MONKEY, the letter C, media.com to see how we can help you promote your book, build a powerful online presence.
What else you got, Chad?
Let's see. We've got the San Diego Writers Festival. There are many writers. And they're a proud sponsor of our Premise podcast as well.
And it's going to be awesome. This year's keynote is Scott Gimple. He's the head writer of The Walking Dead. And the festival is free. It's open to the public. There's going to be educational panels and workshops, famous authors, up-and-coming authors, kids and teen programming, and live theater performances. Oh, and there's music. Oh, and there's food.
Oh, but wait, there's more. You also get a copy of our home game.
You're silly. But wait, there is more. There will be literary agents taking pitches from authors looking to get their books published. The festival is about building community and celebrating storytelling of all kinds. It's happening April 4th, 2020 at the Coronado Public Library.